Hello Spooklets, welcome back to my channel, and if this is the first time you're seeing my face, welcome to my channel. If you love anything to do with the paranormal, this could be the place for you. Hit that subscribe button, I'd love to have you. So in today's video, guys, is a video that I've wanted to do for a while and I'm gonna do it today. Today we're gonna tell you my ghost story. Now, this is not a haunted house, this is me that's haunted. And it's happened since before I can remember, up until even today. So grab your best blanket fort, sit back, grab a snack, and listen to my story. So this all started with an incident before I can remember. So I can't remember this, but I was told this story by my mum and my nana. So when I was really little, I'd say about 2, maybe 3 years old, I was playing in my back garden at my mum and dad's house. My mum and my nana were gardening there. I was playing with a ball, and then I all of a sudden started playing ball with somebody and talking to them. And my mum and nana naturally were a bit confused and asked me who I was talking to. And I replied with Grandad. Now, my granddad died when my mum's dad, he died when my mum was about 21, I want to say. She didn't have me till about 27, 28 years old. I was really persistent and I wouldn't give in. I told them I was talking to this man and he was my granddad. Naturally, my nana got a bit upset. Obviously, she didn't shout at me or anything like that, but she did get a bit upset and she asked me, well, what does he look like? My reply shocked both of them. I described him to a T, and also described him in the clothes, his favourite clothes, the ones he was buried in. So a few days later, my mum fetched some old photos out and was showing me them and sort of paused a bit on one of my granddad, but didn't tell me who it was. Please have in mind that I'd never met this man or seen pictures of him before because I was quite young. I pointed to that picture and said, that's him, that's my granddad. Now, it's not my granddad that haunts me, but that is where it all started. So we're talking a few years later now, and I can remember this incident, and this was my first incident. So where do I start? My hair used to be really long, like down to my bum long. And when I went to bed, my mum would tell me to tie my hair up at night. She was always afraid it would get wrapped around my neck or something during the night, get all tangled around my neck. But obviously during the night, I'd have to wake up. Well, I wouldn't have to wake up. I'd naturally wake up, realise my bobble was out or nearly out of my hair. So I'd just redo it and put it back up again. But this certain night, I woke up and looked out onto the landing. I always had my bedroom door open and the landing light was always on because, well, the little lamp, because I was afraid of the dark, and I still am today. We have a landing lamp on in my house today. But when my mum and dad used to come to bed, they used to turn the lamp off. Now I woke up and I put my bobble in my hair and I looked out onto the landing. It was dark, but it didn't bother me because I was, I was tired. I knew I was going to be going straight back to sleep. But there was a boy stood on the landing and he had his back to me. I remember it like it was yesterday. I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I couldn't scream. Where he was stood was right outside my bedroom door, but he was also outside my mum and dad's bedroom door, because you had my bedroom, say my bedroom door, and then my mum and dad's at an angle like this. So he was stood obviously in the middle, in front of both our bedroom doors. So I couldn't even get out of bed, couldn't if I wanted to anyway, because I just couldn't move. I completely froze. Then he started to turn round slowly, sort of towards my bedroom door. At this point, I gained a bit of movement, so I hid under my covers and I stayed there. I must have naturally fell back to sleep in the end, but it felt like I was under there forever. And then I woke up and it was morning again, and I told my mum and dad about it, and it's something they still talk about to this day. So after that incident, there were things, we'd hear footsteps, knocking, anything like that. But the next thing that really vividly, like I vividly remember, was one day me and my dad were home alone. I'm not quite sure where my mum and sister were, but I remember that it was just me and my dad at home, and I was in the living room watching telly. Now their bedroom, my mum and dad's bedroom, it was straight above the living room, and I could hear their pine drawer set, the drawers opening and shutting. Now they were solid wood, so when you pull solid wood drawers open, they really scrape because they're quite heavy and solid. And I could hear this, and I thought obviously my dad was getting things out of drawers or putting things in drawers, but it went on for quite a while, like unnaturally quite a while. Like he shouldn't have been up there because it was constant movement from the drawers. So I ended up getting out of the chair in the living room to go shout my dad to see, is he looking for something? Does he need any help? But as I stood up, I sort of looked out of the living room window and he was outside cleaning the car. I didn't tell my dad, but noises were quite often heard in the house. So it wasn't something massive, but it was something that really stuck in my mind because there is no explanation for it. When you hear bangs or footsteps, you kind of try and debunk it, even though we did try and couldn't. This is something that I cannot debunk. Their drawers were opening and shutting, but nobody was upstairs at all, and those type of drawers don't move all on their own. So when I was between 16 and 17, I moved out of my parents' house and moved in with my partner at the time in a flat. Noises started happening not long after I moved in with him, having in mind he did live there before me and heard nothing. But yeah, when I moved in, noises started to happen, and it mainly happened in the hallway. During my time living there was a lot of noises. My partner at the time, he saw a man in the hallway. I don't quite know who this man was. But then we had a dog. Now our dog, he was very good. We had a beige carpet in the living room, and he wouldn't come in the living room. He would stay in the hallway. He wouldn't come across that bar, the bars that separate, like at the door, that obviously hold the carpet down in the doorway. He would not put a toe over that bar. But I can remember one night there were noises in the hallway. He was growling a bit and I was watching telly. I was home alone. And I can remember he suddenly bolted into the living room and came and sat with me. And he was staring at the living room door, and it really freaked me out because of obviously how he was behaving and the fact that he would never come in that living room. So something really startled him in that hallway. Then when I was 21, I moved back in with my parents, and things started happening again at this point. When I moved into the flat with my partner at the time, I thought maybe I'm just susceptible to this. Maybe they're around me, and people, unfortunately, that are around me can hear it too. But when I moved back into my mum's and it all started happening again, my mum said to me that after I left, everything stopped. So then I was obviously starting to think that something is following me around, and I automatically thought of the boy that showed himself to me. So whilst back at my mum's, having in mind I moved back in to my mum's and dad's house with my eldest, I had a child, Declan. Some of the things that happened that we really remember, obviously footsteps, knocking, that all came back again. There was all that. But one thing that we remember was a washing pile. My mum took my sister's clean clothes. They were ironed, everything. They were in a folded pile. She put them on the bed. She went up later and the pile was on the floor. It hadn't tippled over. It was still in a very neat pile, but it had been flipped over. So what was on the top was now at the bottom, and what was at the bottom was now at the top. If it had fell off the bed, it wouldn't have still been in a very neat pile. So it was like somebody just literally picked it off the bed, flipped it, and put it on the bedroom floor. I don't know, I can't explain that. Another time was my sister's phone was on her bedside table. They heard something get basically thrown across her bedroom. She had a wooden floor, so they heard it sort of scrape along the floor. They went upstairs and her phone was near the other side of the bedroom, near her wardrobe. It's possible that her phone could have vibrated and maybe fell off the bedside, but to end up the other side of the bedroom, it was quite a big bedroom. It is quite a big bedroom because it's still a bedroom, just not my sister's anymore, it's my mum's. But yeah, it wouldn't have gone across there, so that was another weird thing. And then I remember one night, I wasn't there, I don't know where I was, but I came home and my mum and my sister were really freaked out. Basically the loft on the landing, the hatch had just slammed open and chipped the door frame underneath it on the way down, and we can't explain why that would happen. The latch has never gave way before, and it's never happened again, so not quite sure what happened there. There was a time that my mum was sat in the living room. Now there is a little wooden step going into the living room from the dining room. She was sat in the living room, she was on her own, the house was empty, and she heard the step creak, the wooden step creak, as if somebody had just stood on it. And then it was like she felt her eyes following somebody walking into the living room, and the settee cushion that you sit on, the bit you sit on, it sunk as if somebody had just sat on it. She didn't feel scared, she said. She obviously felt a bit freaked out, but she didn't feel scared and she didn't feel the need to get up. And then it just sort of, she said she knew it kind of went away somehow. She says obviously she didn't see anything, but she knew it had gone and it wasn't there anymore. And then I got with my husband, and I can remember he was staying at my mum and dad's with me one night. Declan was in bed, my mum and dad weren't there. They were actually on holiday. So Matt came to stay with me. And remember, we were watching telly. Declan, like I said, he was in bed. And I started hearing the pine drawers up in mum and dad's bedroom again. And obviously Matt could hear it too. And I'd never spoken to him about anything about this. But yeah, we could hear these drawers going, but Matt said it must be Declan. So he went upstairs to have a look and came back white as a sheet because Declan was fast asleep. But he did say when he got to the top of the stairs that he couldn't hear the noises anymore. It was like they stopped because they knew something was coming up the stairs. And then also Declan saw a man on our landing, which again, a man. I don't know where this man's coming from because it's the boy. Trust me, further on to the story you'll understand. So, but yeah, apparently he saw a man and apparently he didn't like us. That's what he told Declan. Then me and Matt bought a house, the house that we live in now. The very first thing that happened in this house was that we were sat watching telly downstairs. I've got something in my eye and it's doing my head in. Yeah, we was watching telly downstairs and we could hear little footsteps. And it went from Declan's room across the landing and into our bedroom. Now, you could say, you know, neighbours walk around and we have a house on either side attached to us. So you could say it was neighbours, but how could they simultaneously move at the same time? And the noise went across the landing as well. So Matt went upstairs anyway because it definitely sounded like somebody ran across from Declan's room to our bedroom thinking it was Declan. So Matt ran upstairs, nobody, and Declan was asleep. But like I said, the footsteps ran from Declan's room to our bedroom, but we didn't hear them go back. So whatever it was still in our bedroom, but we didn't see anything. Another thing, the bedroom that Declan was in, he never settled in it very well. He would always wake in the night. He was very scared. We thought night terrors maybe or something, but we moved him into the next bedroom and he settled straight away and we never had a problem since. Keep that in mind about that bedroom and Declan not settling in it. When I was pregnant with our youngest, Jamie, a lot went on. One thing that I really remember was I can remember one morning I woke up and I was looking at my ceiling and I was talking to Declan. He would have been 5 at this point. I was talking to Declan from his bedroom. We were just having a little conversation. I was there on my own. Matt would have been on early, so he would have been gone to work way before I woke up. And as I was talking to him, I was watching this smoke on the ceiling. It was black smoke, not like a puff of smoke. It was like a ribbon of smoke and it was coming down towards me. Now at the time when I was watching it, I didn't realise what was there. I was just talking to Declan. I felt actually quite relaxed and I didn't really think anything of it. But then I suddenly twigged, sort of snapped out of whatever I was under, and realised, hang on a minute, I shouldn't be seeing this. But by the time I realised this, it had gone. But then it made me realise, well, hang on a minute, smoke rises. Why was that falling towards me? And why was there this ribbon of black smoke on my ceiling? Yeah, I can't explain that. And then I can remember another night. It was not actually that long after the smoke incident. I woke up and I was looking at the coving, that runs across the ceiling, sort of splits the ceiling and the wall. I was looking at the coving and there was a spider, like literally, sorry about my nails, literally the size of my hand, probably a little bit bigger, and it was crawling along the coving. Now, we don't get spiders like that in the UK just randomly in the wild that wander into our house. We can buy tarantulas and things, but there's none of those in this house, I assure you. But I was watching this spider crawl across the coving, but as I was watching it, it was slowly disappearing whilst it was walking until it vanished. And then also another little story, while I was pregnant, I was getting ready. Declan needed to be at school. So I was doing my hair, I think it was. I was in the mirror, I was doing my hair or my makeup, one of the two. And Declan was in his bedroom getting ready for school. But then what I thought was him, through the crack of my door, because I'd left my bedroom door ajar, whispered, "Mummy." So I straight away shouted, "You need to get ready for school." And from his bedroom, he shouted, "I am." Now, we have wood flooring on the landing. I would have heard him run, because he would have had to have run to his bedroom very, very, probably not humanly. It wouldn't be human to run that fast anyway, because I literally shouted straight after the whisper and he answered straight away. But if he did run, I would have heard. I mean, you would hear anyway, but especially on wood floor. But it wasn't him, so I don't know what or who was whispering through the crack of my bedroom door. But I can tell you now that it sounded like a child. Now, going to when Jamie was born, when he was newborn, we had obviously a baby monitor, and I can remember one night me and Matt got into bed, and clear as day we could hear a child laughing down the baby monitor. Now, Jamie was newborn, he didn't laugh, and again, Declan was fast asleep, but it didn't sound like Declan either. I know you can get a bit of interference with baby monitors, but it was too clear. It was straight down the baby monitor. It was very, very strange. It might be able to be debunked because baby monitors sometimes get interference, but we never had it before with this baby monitor, and we never had it again either. So I do find it very strange that that happened. And then Jamie wouldn't settle in the bedroom that he was in, but he kind of, bless him, had to stay in that bedroom because Declan had already moved, obviously, into the other bedroom, and they wanted, we had to have them their own bedrooms, especially with Jamie being so small, because he was okay as a newborn in the bedroom. It was when, during the teething stages, so when he was sort of 5 months old onwards, it didn't happen every night, but most nights it happened. We thought again that it might be night terrors, but then I can remember I was really tired because of the teething and everything, and obviously these night terrors that we thought they were. So I can remember going in to sort of tidy the cot up, and I remember just looking around the room and saying, "Leave this room now." And funnily enough, he never seemed to have these night terrors again. Then when Jamie was a little bit older, I remember being in the garden with him. I don't know if I think he would have been at nursery, and he only did mornings. It was only me and Jamie here, so Declan would have been still at school because he did full-time school at this point. Jamie would have only been at nursery in the mornings, and I remember being in the garden with him, and he was on the grass and he was looking up at his bedroom window, then running over to the landing window and then back to his bedroom window, and it was like he was hiding or somebody was hiding playing a game, and he just kept laughing and pointing and waving, and it was like he was following somebody from the landing to his window to the landing window to his window, but he was too young to explain anything to me. Yeah, that really freaked me out. And then there was a time Jamie was a little bit older. I could hold conversations with him at this point. He was upstairs playing. He wanted to go upstairs to his bedroom playing, so I said, "That's fine, I'll watch a bit of telly, you go upstairs and play." And he was talking to somebody. I thought he was talking to his toys, how kids do. But he came downstairs and he was talking to me for a bit, and he said, "Are you going to come upstairs and play with us, Mummy?" No, no. One of the next big things is one of the last things that's happened so far. We often get footsteps, doors, things moving, anything like that. I mean, we went on holiday once, we came back and there was a toy in the middle of Declan's bedroom floor, and you can't explain things like that. But the next big thing that happened that really freaked me and Matt out together was we were getting our bedroom decorated and it had been plastered. Now, we couldn't sleep in the bedroom because obviously it was wet plaster and that's not good for your health. So we slept in the living room, which was directly under our bedroom. All that was in the bedroom was 3 shelves in an alcove. On the top shelf, there was a massive handbag of mine. Please remember this, this is important. In that handbag was a roll of wallpaper. Behind the bag was another roll of wallpaper. And in the middle of the floor was, no, not in the middle of the floor, sorry, it was at the edge of the bedroom, was a stepladder, and on that stepladder was a hammer. That was it. There was just floorboards and wet plaster on the walls. That was it. We were settling into our camp beds in the living room. It was quite late at night. We turned the telly off, just laying down to have our night's sleep, when we heard a massive crash from above us. Matt jumped out of the camp bed, he ran upstairs, and he told me to come up because he said, "You won't believe what has happened." And as I was walking into the room, he said that the hammer and a roll of wallpaper were on the bedroom floor. So I thought, well, maybe the hammer could have fell off the ladder and that wallpaper that was in my handbag might have tippled out. But when I went into the bedroom, I realised, yes, the hammer was on the floor, but it was nowhere near the ladder. It was the other side of the room. And next to it, parallel to it, quite neatly, was a roll of wallpaper. I looked up. The roll of wallpaper was still in my handbag, but the one behind it wasn't. For that to have rolled off, because it was a large handbag, it would have knocked the handbag and other roll off as well. That really scared us, and we really felt like somebody was in the house. Matt picked up the hammer thinking there was an intruder, and he searched everywhere, but there was nothing. There was nobody in the house. And another weird thing was the kids didn't wake up to the crash that we heard. I mean, we heard it from downstairs. Yes, it was directly above us, but the kids were upstairs. But they didn't wake, they didn't murmur. Then I went to see a medium. I was a bit skeptical, but I thought, no, I'll go see a medium. And I remember saying to my friend, if this medium doesn't bring up the little boy, then I want my money back, basically, because he seems to be quite active in my life. So yeah, it was my turn. I went in, so she started doing a thing, and my granddad came through. She said there was a few people, and then she suddenly stopped and she said, "Oh, there's a little boy here." And I just felt cold. I recorded the whole conversation as well, keep that in mind. She said, "He's very attached to you." She said, "But you've heard him, haven't you?" And I said, "I've seen him." And she was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yes." And yeah, this conversation went on for a while. She said she was trying to figure out why he was so attached to me. She said, is somebody that you're close to, have they lost a child? And she asked if I'd lost a child. And obviously my reply was no to all of this. So then I told her that I was meant to be a twin. And she said that could be it. She said he's very, very attached to you, like massively. So yeah, I was meant to be a twin, and this little boy could be my twin. When I got home, I let Matt listen to the recording. I didn't want to listen to it because my granddad had come through, and it was really upsetting. Nice, but upsetting. But I let him listen to the recording, and he shouts through and said, "Was there any children there? I didn't think children were allowed." And I said, "No, there was no children there." But in the background, you can hear a child giggle at one bit of the recording. There's lots of little stories that I could have probably involved. It's just footsteps, banging. I say just, but it's just, that's what we're used to hearing, so it is just to us. But if I do have any updates, I will be sure to let you know. I do have a couple of people that have submitted their stories to me to talk about on the channel, which I'm really, really looking forward to doing. I can't wait to tell their stories. But if anyone here is watching wants to send me a story, you can either do it with your name or anonymously. That's absolutely fine. I don't have to mention your name in the video, just your story. Then my email is in the description of the video, or you can go pop over to one of my social medias and send me your story via message on those. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a massive thumbs up for me, because it helps me more than you know, and I will speak to you all in my next video. But until then, sleep tight.